designer told me that the deities look the most fashionable persons. Like so beautifully dressed. So this is life. This is the life of immortality. This is the Amritamay life, existence. So please enjoy. Sometimes it's said that don't try to enjoy. Don't try to enjoy. But the point is, don't try to enjoy in the material nature. You'll experience joy automatically when you get involved in spiritual life. Like when you are in sun, then do you have to make any endeavor to light up? No, light is already there. So there is no need for separate endeavor to enjoy. You are in the middle of joy, in the ocean of joy. Anandam bhuti vardhanam. The ocean of ecstasy, ocean of ananda just keeps on increasing more and more. That is what spiritual life is. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanang Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Deving Sarasating Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashta Praeshu Abhadreshu Nittang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So yesterday we discussed about the second verse of the 6th chapter of 7th canto. Prahlad's instruction. Prahlad instructs his demoniac schoolmates. What was the instruction? Very good. Kaumara acharit pragya, meaning Kaumar means from childhood. Kaumar. 5 years onwards. Kaumar. Kaumara acharit pragya dharman bhagavataniha. This practice of Krishna consciousness. Why? Because this human form of life is very rare. Durlabha manushang janma. This human life is very, very rare. And then tadapi, and on top it is very rare, and at the same time adhrubam is temporary. No one can guarantee for how long we are going to live. Death can come at any moment. And arthodam, this human form of life, provides a very, very special opportunity. Is full of meaning. And that meaning is that opportunity. So we go to the next verse, Prahlad Maharaj's instruction. Yatha hi purushasyeha Vishnu padopasarpanam yadesha sarvabhutanam priya atmeshwaraha surhit yatha hi purushasyeha Vishnu Padopasarpanam Jadesha Sarva Bhutanam Priya Atmeshwaraha Suri Yatha hi Purushasyeha Vishnu Padopasarpanam Yadesha Sarva Bhutanam Priya Atmeshwara Suri Yatha hi Purushasyeha Vishnu Padopasarpanam Yadesha Sarva Bhutanam Priya Atmeshwara Suri
Yatha hi Purushasyeha
Purushasyeha
Vishnu Padopasarpanam Yadesha Sarva Bhutanam Priya Atmeshwara Sure Yatha hi Purushasyeha Vishnu Padopasarpanam Yadesha Sarva Bhutanam
Mataji's Yatha, in order that he indeed Purushasya of a living entity Iha here Vishnu of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Pada Upasarpanam, approaching the lotus feet, Yat, because Eshaha, this Sarva Bhutanam, of all living entities, Priyaha, the dear one, Atma Ishvaraha, the master of the soul, the super soul, Surhit, the best well-wisher and friend. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The human form of life affords one a chance to return home back to Godhead. Therefore, every living entity, especially in the human form of life, must engage in devotional service to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. This devotional service is natural because Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the most beloved, the master of the soul, and the well-wisher of all other living beings. Please repeat after me. The human form of life affords one a chance to return home, back to Godhead. Therefore, every living entity, especially in the human form of life, must engage in devotional service to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. This devotional service is natural because Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the most beloved, the master of the soul, and the well-wisher of all other living beings. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktarang Jaggatapasam Sarvaloko Maheshwaram Surhidam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mang Shantim Richati. The sages, knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Simply by understanding these three facts, that the Supreme Lord Vishnu is the proprietor of the entire creation, that he is the best well-wishing friend of all living entities, and that he is the supreme enjoyer of everything, one becomes peaceful and happy. For the transcendental happiness, the living entity has wandered throughout the universe in different forms of life and different planetary systems. But because he has forgotten his intimate relationship with Vishnu, he has merely suffered life after life. Therefore, the educational system in the human form of life should be so perfect that one will understand his intimate relationship with God or Vishnu. Every living entity has an intimate relationship with God. One should therefore glorify the Lord in the adoration of Santaras, or revive his eternal relationship with Vishnu as a servant of Dasyaras, a friend in Sakhyaras, a parent in Vatsalyaras, or a conjugal lover in Madhurjaras. All these relationships are on the platform of love. Vishnu is the center of love for everyone. And therefore the duty of everyone is to engage in loving service of the Lord. As stated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Jesham ahang priya atma sutascha sakha guru surhida daivam ishtam. In any form of life, we are related with Vishnu, who is the most beloved, the Supersoul, Son, Friend, and Guru. Our eternal relationship with God can be revived in the human form of life, and that should be the goal of education. Indeed, that is the perfection of life and the perfection of education. So again, we are coming back to the point of education, the need of proper education. Like yesterday also we discussed about that. The first responsibility is with the parents. Because when they're children, it's the parents that have to educate them. We can even go back, even before one is born. The mothers have the responsibility to educate the children when they're in the womb. Because the child in the womb is also conscious and tuned into mother's consciousness. So if the mother is Krishna conscious, the child will be Krishna conscious. We go even before that, Garbhadan Sanskar. Even before the child is conceived, the father and mother prepare themselves. And what's the preparation? To be in proper Krishna consciousness. So when the father and mother are, especially when the father is Krishna conscious, then the father will be able to invite a Krishna conscious soul to take birth in the womb of the mother. So we can see how scientific the Vedic culture is. Such preparation. Children should be conceived like cats and dogs. They're just some union between a man and male and a female, just conception takes place. The child is conceived accidentally, so to say, no preparation. Therefore you can see like the Vedic culture is actually preparing the human society to be really civilized, come to the human form. The preparation is so extensive. Even before the child is conceived, the parents are preparing themselves to invite an appropriate soul. The souls, actually the soul doesn't decide which womb he will enter into. It's the nature, Mother Nature, that decides. According to one's mentality. The mentality is there in the subtle body. When one acts like an animal, subtle body takes the shape of an animal. When somebody acts like an angel, his subtle body takes the shape of an angel. The subtle body doesn't die. At the time of death, the soul lives and is the subtle body that carries the soul to the next destination. The next destination is like the Mother Nature will actually decide, oh, you are an angelic entity, you have an angelic subtle body, your mentality is like that of an angel, okay. You'll be placed into in an angelic womb, out of angelic parentage. You are an animal, okay. Go down. So this is how everything is actually happening by a divine arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even in this material nature. So nothing happens by chance. We create our own destiny through our own actions. As you sow, so shall you reap. And we develop our subtle body accordingly as we act. That is the result of karmic reaction. Every single action leaves its imprint in the subtle body. Don't you see that? When you do something very good, how do we feel internally? Don't you feel elated? When you do something bad, even though nobody saw us doing that, the impression of that action is there in the subtle body. So this is how all our actions are actually shaping our subtle body. And accordingly, we'll get our gross body. That is the arrangement of the material nature. But the wonderful thing is, that is why the human form of life is so special. Because human beings have the will. They can decide what they want to do. Human beings have the faculties of this: intelligence and will. Intelligence makes him to decide, and will directs him to act in that way. Intelligence decides, if I put my hand in the fire, the hand will get burnt. So intelligence says, don't do that. And the will, withdraw the hand. Intelligence says, he is my enemy. And the will says, kill him. So this is how we have the prerogative of deciding ourselves what we want to do. Animals don't have the faculty. Sub-human species don't have that faculty. Animals don't think. Like they have some intelligence also, but that intelligence is nothing compared to human intelligence. Like the progress in the human society is an indication of human intelligence. Like, oh, it's summer, so summer gets so hot, so make arrangements to avoid that unpleasant condition of heat. So man invented fan. Before that, he has this hand fan. They thought, did you ever see an animal using a hand fan? And then the human beings considered, okay, hand fan is fine, but it would have been better if there could have been more advanced arrangement. Well, ceiling fan, table fan, then further development, AC, air conditioning. So these are the result of intelligence. Human beings have the intelligence to do these things, and this is. But the thing is, unfortunately, the intelligence has been directed in a wrong direction. Body's comfort, body's enjoyment. But the body is not our actual identity. The body is not our actual self. Our self is the soul. Therefore, do you remember Prabhupada gave the example? A bird in a cage. A bird in a cage. The person, the owner, is polishing the cage, making very nice, and the bird is not getting any food to eat. So what will be the condition of the bird? The cage is for the bird, and now polishing the cage and making all kinds of arrangement for the cage will be lost if the bird's life is at stake. So similarly, this body can be what is the meaning of this analogy? This body is that cage. You're giving all the comforts, all the pleasure, all the dressing, all the ornamentation to the body. But what about the soul? What about the soul? And what does the soul want? A body is given all kinds of facilities, but we are not at all concerned about the soul. Now, only a human being can probe into this kind of thoughts or consideration. What is the when they get the proper direction, then intelligence is automatically acting. Do it. Reading Prabhupada's books, we understand. We didn't have any information before because there was no education. There was no education. Nobody told us. Even though we read scriptures, we didn't understand. How many of you read Bhagavad Gita before coming to ISKCON? Did you understand anything? We thought that we were understanding so much. But when we read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, then we realized we didn't understand anything. Because those Bhagavad Gita did not make us realize that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrendering to Krishna is the main purpose of Bhagavad Gita. So, at least by coming across Srila Prabhupada's teachings, we got the right understanding. And when we get the right understanding, then we have the proper way to apply or move forward. What should we do? Take to Krishna consciousness. Practice it. But here also Prabhupada is making another point in that respect. That you realize that you are suffering from a disease. You realize that going to hospital will cure the disease. The hospital will cure the disease. Now you go to the hospital. Is going to the hospital is enough? Or just by going to the hospital will get cured? No, you have to take the treatment. So now we realize that we are suffering from some disease. We realize that ISKCON is that hospital. Now just coming in ISKCON and taking initiation and so forth is not really going to serve the purpose. We have to take the treatment. If we don't take the treatment, then the whole purpose is lost. And unfortunately, that's happening nowadays. I'm noticing. So many devotees join ISKCON, take initiation, but don't practice the process. So what's the point in then coming to the hospital? There lies our responsibility, whether we're going to practice the process sincerely. And the process, the medicine is very simple. Chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra at least 16 rounds. Chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra at least 16 rounds. Follow the 4 regulative principles. Follow the 4 regulative principles. Read Prabhupada's books. That means constantly be reminded. Like coming to Bhagavatam classes and Bhagavad Gita classes, attending seminars, is actually giving us the impetus, reminder. Like this is what we need to do. Reading Prabhupada's books or listening to Prabhupada's tapes is so important, that's why. That's why listening to Prabhupada's tapes or reading Prabhupada's books, and if you can't read, at least listen to Prabhupada's tapes. They're so readily available. So, if we do that, then we'll naturally make spiritual progress. Actually, we don't, say for example, this analogy that I gave, I just heard that this morning from Prabhupada's lecture. I make it a point to listen to Prabhupada's lectures every day. And Prabhupada is giving that example. And it's such a wonderful reminder. Just joining ISKCON is not good enough. Just Prabhupada gave the example, just going to the hospital, will you get cured? No, you have to take the treatment. So just coming to ISKCON is not good enough. We have to take the treatment. So these kind of reminders are so essential. So listen to Prabhupada's tapes, Prabhupada's lectures, Prabhupada's classes, read Prabhupada's books, and that will give the reminder. Just like we are reading today, what Prahlad Maharaj is reminding his friends. The human form comes with a wonderful opportunity, so take advantage of that. The human form of life affords one the chance to return back to Godhead. What a wonderful reminder. We got the human form, we got the human body. Now what is the prerogative? What we need to do now? Recognize that this form of life is giving us a wonderful opportunity to go back to Godhead. So this is how we, reading Prabhupada's book, listening to classes, listening to lectures, is a reminder. If we don't, then we forget. We drift away. And as I was saying, like so many devotees I am seeing, they take initiation but don't follow. They stop chanting their rounds. They stop following the 4 regulative principles, breaking the principles. Again, Prabhupada is giving the example that you are taking the treatment, it'll cure. But then if you go and start doing all kind of nonsense, will you get cured? No. So sincerely accept the process. Practice Krishna consciousness very, very sincerely. That's what actually we are here to remind you all. And also get up early in the morning. That's another secret. This morning, two of my assistants, I just found out that they're still in bed. And I had to wake them up. And of course they quickly got ready, but that's why I got a little late today. And then I told them, get up before 5 o'clock. At least get up before 5 o'clock. If you're in a temple, then you get up before 4 o'clock. Because you have to attend the Aratik at 4:30. But if you're at home, at least make it a point to get up before 5. Because the morning hours are very, very important. Morning hours are in the mode of goodness. Morning hours are very serene, very peaceful. You are peaceful after a good night's rest. And whatever you do will have such powerful effect when you do things in the morning, especially hearing, reading, chanting. The best time is in the morning. So we have come to the hospital, let's take the treatment. And cure is guaranteed. Because here the doctor is Srila Prabhupada. And the medicines have been given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we got the best medicine, we got the best doctor. So just and the doctor has created such a wonderful hospital. So why should you worry? Just practice the process and you will see we all will meet in the spiritual world, back to God. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So does anybody have any question? Yes? Pran Govinda Prabhu, give him the mic.
Maharaj, in the beginning you mentioned joy is opposite to darkness. Joy is
opposite to suffering, yeah.
Okay, you compare to the light and darkness, but then I was trying to can you shed some light on this that verse of Rupa Goswami Pads, Brahmananda Bhavedesha Cheto Prarardha Gunikrita Naitam Bhakti Sukham Bodhe Paramanatulamavi. In that verse, Baladev Vidyabhasan Thakur give a little commentary that there is a happiness is determined by the location of consciousness. And he gives there is a happiness in unconscious, which is Sushupti, something like Sushupti, merging or the Stabor Deha, like a non-moving body. There is some happiness, and that happiness is unconscious state. And Krishna consciousness, happiness is conscious.
Okay, good point. If you're unconscious, are you conscious of your happiness?
No.
Then you're unconscious. Get the point? Shushupti is unconscious, right? So you may feel some sort of happiness when you wake up, not when you are in that deep sleep, right? Yeah. So that is like as you were saying, the Brahma. Going back to the verse, Brahmananda is something compared to that, whereas Premananda, Krishna consciousness, is the real happiness. So, yeah.
So would you say that conscious happiness is something we can have some control on it, that we can keep it on, but unconscious happiness, which is like samadhi or sushupti, is like after...
It is, actually it's not really sushupti. There is some happiness, some consciousness is there, but that consciousness is nothing compared to joy of devotion. You get the point? Okay, let's go back to what was your original question?
I was saying that the happiness is determined by the location of our consciousness, what we focus. This is what the...
Yeah.
So how that...
Not location, state of our consciousness.
State of our consciousness.
State of our consciousness.
How that samadhi or susupti, that kind of, or merging, that how they actually draw that happiness.
Sushupti is not merging.
That's true. But like sthabor deho, jangam deho, devo deho, kaha duhar goti, that Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai discussion, that Gyani and Karmi, he says devo deho is for the Karmi and the Gyani is sthabor deho. So Prabhupada puts sthabor deho is non-moving like a...
Yeah, but that is spiritual.
But they are not aware that...
There is awareness. There is awareness.
That they are experiencing?
Naturally. Like for example, in Samadhi, like when one is meditating, he is conscious. It's not falling asleep is not meditation, right? So you get the point. Like, okay, as you were saying, why it has been considered to be sthabar, because there is no action. That is in Shantarash. But some ras is there. Prabhupada is saying in Shantarash, there is love. Love for the Lord is there, and consciousness is there. Therefore, he is meditating, he is projecting his consciousness internally, and ultimately he is seeing the super soul through his samadhi, right? But because he is not active, therefore it is spiritually it is considered to be sthabar, right? Static. And those who are in Shantaras, in the spiritual world they become trees. Their goal is becoming... The trees in Vrindavan are the sages. And there is some love, but that is different from Brahmananda. Brahmananda is merging into the Brahma Jyoti, which is the source of everything, and one tends to lose one's identity in that light, thinking that I have become everything. I am the source of everything. And that is Brahmananda. But beyond that is the loving devotion. Therefore, devotees are afraid of being in Brahmananda state or Brahma Jyoti, because there, you see, the Lord's personal form is not perceived. He is not seeing the Lord. Therefore, he is afraid, because when that awareness of the Lord's identity is not there, then the service attitude may be lost. Therefore, devotee, when he goes to Brahma Jyoti, he prays to the Lord, my Lord, please reveal your divine form, penetrating this all-encompassing light. Another example in that respect is given, like from darkness, when you go into broad daylight, you tend to become blind. So that blindness can be compared to Shushupti. You get the point? When you become blind, then you don't have any awareness of your, then you don't have your consciousness. You become unconscious. So that's the risk that one faces when one goes from the material nature all of a sudden to the spiritual world. Therefore, the safest thing is devotion to the Lord. Here we can experience His presence. There also we can experience His presence. So He is there with us. We are with Him. And then there is a loving exchange. Like, okay, let's put it this way. The analogy, this can be taken as an analogy. When you're sleeping, you're feeling very happy. Sleeping, deep sleep gives some sort of happiness. But when you are dancing and chanting in ecstasy with the devotees, which one is more? So that's the thing, like Brahmananda can be compared to, Shushupti, and Premananda is happily chanting and dancing with the devotees.
Thank you.
With Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you for a wonderful lecture. I have a question you told, right, we are in a diseased condition and we joined ISKCON hospital and we are taking a medicine of Mahaprabhu. So my question is after taking the medicine, how do you know that this medicine is working as, what are the symptoms we can see that?
Because that symptom of disease will disappear. All right? Say you have a headache. You come to the hospital. Doctor gives you the medicine. Then what happens? The headache is gone.
Yes.
So that is how we realize that the medicine had its effect. That is how you realize the suffering condition is gone. Symptoms of the disease is gone. And the symptom of disease is to enjoy in the material nature. Through eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Right? So that tendency is gone. All right.
Thank you, Guru.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I just have a clarification question. You had mentioned Kleshagni and Srilabdha today and yesterday, and I know it's also in Nectar of Devotion.
Shubhada. It's not Shubhada.
Subhata, sorry.
Shubhada.
Can you explain that concept, all the auspiciousness? Is it our activities become auspicious? Is it, I'm not sure I'm understanding what the auspiciousness is related to.
Good, very good. So which one you need clarification? Kleshagni or Shubhada? Shubhada. Shubha means auspiciousness. Like how does the auspiciousness come? It comes in so many ways. You have all of a sudden after you come to Krishna consciousness, you start to see all the good things start to happen. Kleshagni is the suffering condition is gone. Headache is gone, anxiety is gone, stress is gone. After you take to Krishna consciousness, doesn't it happen? Freedom from stress, freedom from anxiety. Because when we know Krishna is taking care of us, why should I worry about anything? He is taking care of me. I surrender unto Him. Let Him take care of me. No more anxiety. Just like you become like a child. When you were a child, did you have any anxiety? No. Because the parents were there, you're depending on them and they were taking care of you. And Shubhada is, auspicious things start to happen. Like, it's difficult to say, like, to give, material example will be that you are trying to do something and all of a sudden, all these difficulties are gone. And your endeavor becomes successful. So that is the Shubhada, auspiciousness has been created by the demigods, by Krishna's agents. Krishna, didn't it happen ever since we joined Krishna consciousness? That's what is the natural outcome of being involved in devotional service. It's clear? Oh, okay. All auspiciousness automatically comes. You don't have to create it yourself. That's the point. You're trying to create auspiciousness. You're working hard to get some money. But then, as a mundane example, don't take it so seriously. All of a sudden you see that in a bank account there is $100,000. Right? You don't know where it came from. So, as I mentioned, it's a mundane example, won't you feel happy if something like that happens? So, that is Shubhada.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, I have a question, two questions. One is as we are reading that we have the child, since the soul, we have to be conscious, give Krishna consciousness. But I see some non-devotees, friends, children's, they are parents, they are drunkards, they have alcohol at home, they smoke in front of children's. So, but the children's are very calm, quiet, they listen as their parents say. But the devotees, some of the devotee parents, the children's don't.
That is the result of Varna Shankar. In Kali Yuga, there is Varna Shankar. In other ages, from the parents you could make out, or the state of their, for example, Kashyapa and Diti. They conceived the children, 2 children, at a wrong time, right? And the result is Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. So in other ages, because the Varnas were very, very, pure, then the birth also was according to the state of parents. But in the age of Kali, there is one, it's all mixed up. So as you were saying, you find saintly children out of demoniac parents. And sometimes demoniac children out of saintly parents. So that is due to Varna Shankar. Okay?
And Guru Maharaj, one more. In a purport, we read Sanatan to Vishnu, and then in Tulsi Puja also we say when we pray Vishnu Prema, we'll sing. And then Krishna is supreme, so how to understand
It's the same. Vishnu and Krishna is the same. There is no, you see, Vishnu, as I mentioned yesterday, Krishna in relation to material creation is Vishnu. So when you are approaching him from this region, then we are approaching Vishnu. And generally people would, their approach would be like that in other ages. Through meditation, through yoga, they will see the Lord in the heart, when they would achieve the perfection, that is actually Vishnu, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. And then, when Vishnu is lying as a witness, inactive, but when he becomes active, loving exchange makes them active, then they would become, he would become Narayan. Right? Their destination is Vaikuntha. But we have a very special blessed benediction, very special blessings. We are having a direct approach to Krishna, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, beyond Vaikuntha, Vrindavan. So that's why, but the thing is that our understanding is Vishnu, Narayan, they're all Krishna. They're all Krishna. That's the Sambandha Gyan. So, yeah, maybe one or two questions.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. So the symptoms of Shobhada and Kleshagni can be seen at the Ado Shraddha stage, or it has to be, Anartha Nivritti has to be gone?
It is at the stage when the Bhaktilata Bij will sprout. Jai Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. When the seed sprouts, okay, when the seed begins to sprout, when the bhakti becomes active. Like the beginning is, of course, Shraddha, but in the Shraddha stage that can happen. At the stage of Shraddha, when you're practicing the process of Krishna consciousness, it will happen. But according to the intensity of the faith, the outcome will be there.
Thank you so much.
So the point is, at the very beginning of your spiritual life, you will experience that.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you. Online, okay.
Maharaj, Narottam Anand Prabhu is asking a question.
He's from?
He did not mention where he is from, but he's asking a question that what are the symptoms of sinless chanting?
What are the symptoms of?
Sinless chanting.
Sinless chanting. Well, the more, pure, sinless, actually sinless means what? I mean, pure chanting or like sinless chanting. Probably he means pure chanting, right? So the state of pure chanting will give us the inner feeling of joy, attachment to the holy name. When there is offenses, we don't develop the attachment. But when when the chanting is pure, then we will feel like chanting, will become attached to the holy name. And at that time one will feel like chanting all the time, or rendering service all the time. Yes.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for wonderful class. Guru Maharaj, about one point you mentioned about enjoyment, and thank you for clarifying that we should enjoy through real happiness rather than through material enjoyment. Because many times, that comes in our mind, oh, I shouldn't enjoy because I'm serving Krishna. But thank you for clarifying that. So the question is, Guru Maharaj, many times when we are serving, we feel joyful and we enjoy. But there are times where doing a service, we don't feel that enjoyment. So that time, should we stop the service and try to do something else,
or should we still try to continue?
You see, in Krishna consciousness, we do not want to enjoy. It automatically comes. It automatically comes. Like, for example, you're rendering service, maybe it's strenuous at that time. So you're not enjoying. But that feeling of enjoyment will come when you have done that, and you will feel that, oh, I have been able to do this for Krishna. And the point here is, devotee doesn't want to enjoy. The enjoyment comes automatically to him. One mundane example again. A poor man is invited to a party thrown by his rich friend. Right? The poor man doesn't know what to expect. He may expect so many things. But the real thing is, when he goes to the party, then he sees all the facilities for enjoyment that is there. And he becomes a part of it. Like, his business now is to simply go and attend the party. So in a spiritual sense, Krishna's party is going on. Transcendental party is going on. And we simply have to step into that, A poor man in a richest man's party. Can you imagine what kind of consider who is Krishna? He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Supreme Proprietor. He is the Supreme Enjoyer. Right? So, can you imagine what his enjoyment is like? We can't even imagine what his enjoyment is like. And we have the prerogative, we have the invitation, come, join me in my party. And when you go there, then what happens? We become tuned into the enjoyment of the Supreme Enjoyer. It's inconceivable. So I'll stop now. So meet again at 11 o'clock. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.